Our next instrument in the woodwind family is the alto saxophone. The alto saxophone is, like I said, a woodwind instrument that will utilize a reed much like the clarinet. So first, we are going to learn how to assemble the alto saxophone. Much like the clarinet, you want to make sure that the case is on a nice flat surface, a table, a chair, or the floor. When you open it, you'll open it towards you, revealing the parts of the alto saxophone. You're going to see that the alto saxophone is one big part here, the main body of the saxophone. You're going to also see that it has what we call the neck and a mouthpiece. The saxophone also has this, which is a neck strap. You're going to go ahead and put the neck strap on over your neck. So this helps hold the saxophone in place so not all of the weight is on your fingers or your thumbs. So the first thing that we are going to do when we assemble the saxophone is we are going to take the body of the saxophone and we are going to attach this circle to our neck strap. Now, the saxophone can hang with no hands. Now, with that being said, you should always have your hands on the saxophone. The neck strap helps with the weight of the saxophone, not so you can do other things while you are practicing or rehearsing. The next part that we are going to assemble is we're going to put the neck on the body of the saxophone. You're going to do this by inserting the bottom part of the neck into the top part of the body. This screw will be a little loose, and you do so with light twists. When it's in place, you want to tighten this screw so the neck does not move. The neck should line up with the bell so it creates one line all the way through. The next part that you're going to put on is the mouthpiece. Much like the clarinet, the mouthpiece has what we call a ligature. You're going to put the ligature down for now, and you are going to put the flat side of the mouthpiece facing down. So on this part of the neck, you're going to slightly turn and twist until it's in place. Once that is in place, you will take the reed, and much like the clarinet, you want to make sure that the reed is nice and wet. You can have the reed in your mouth while you are assembling the clarinet to save you some time, or you could do it now. When you feel that the reed is wet enough, you're going to go ahead and you're going to put it on just like you did the clarinet. Flat side on flat side. You want a little bit of the black part of the mouthpiece to be over the reed. And then once that's good to go, you're going to take your ligature, screws facing you, and put it over. Now, this is a good opportunity for you to adjust the reed. And once it's right where you want it to be, you're going to tighten the ligature to keep the reed in place. And that is how you assemble the saxophone. The next thing that we're going to do is learn how to hold the saxophone. Like I mentioned before, the neck strap helps relieve some of the weight from being on your fingers because a lot of the weight would be on this thumb rest for your right hand. So what happens is you start with your right hand, you put your thumb on the bottom part under this thumb rest. You then are going to see 3 pearl buttons. You want your index finger to go over the first pearl button, your middle finger to go over the second pearl button, and your ring finger to go over the third pearl button. Your pinky on your right hand will just hang out right now because it doesn't have a purpose yet. Up top, you're going to see 5 pearl buttons. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. They're all different sizes. The top pearl button is not where you want to put your first finger. You want to put your first finger on the second pearl button. You are then going to skip this little pearl button. Just skip this little guy right here. And you're going to come to the next pearl button, the fourth pearl button, and that's where you're going to put your middle finger. And then your last pearl button is where you put your ring finger. Again, like your right hand, your left hand pinky will do nothing right now. On the back, your thumb will end up on this black circle. So now that you have your saxophone assembled and your neck strap is allowing the mouthpiece to come right to your mouth, we're ready to learn some of the notes. The first note that we are going to learn on the saxophone is B. B is the third line of the treble clef. You can see this in your book. All B is your first finger on the second pearl button. You keep your thumb on that black circle on the back. So this note, B, is only one finger. You're doing nothing in your right hand. You make a seal around the reed and the mouthpiece, much like you did the clarinet, and you take a nice deep breath and you blow through the instrument. Keep your corners tight so that no air escapes. That's B with one finger. Our next note is A. A is the second space of the treble clef, which you'll see in your book. A is the B fingering with your middle finger on the fourth pearl key. So now you have 1 and 2 down with nothing on the back. You make the seal around the mouthpiece and the reed, take a nice deep breath, keep those corners tight, keeping 1 and 2 down, and this is A. Now you're ready for the last note of the saxophone, which is going to be G. G is the second line of the treble clef. You'll see this in your book. You do your A fingering and then add the third finger of your left hand. So now the pearl keys, the second, the fourth, and the fifth are down. Or for fingers, 1, 2, and 3. You're going to go ahead and create the seal around the reed and the mouthpiece, keeping your corners tight and making sure that you're playing with lots of air. All 3 fingers in your left hand down. This is G. So now that you've learned B, A, and G, you're going to see that you're just stacking your fingers down to create B, A, and G. And when we put them together in whole notes, this is what it sounds like. So now that we're done playing for the day, we are going to disassemble the saxophone. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to keep the saxophone on our neck strap. And we're going to take the reed off by unscrewing the ligature and pulling the reed off itself. You're then going to put the reed in its reed case. This again helps the reed from getting any chips, but also keeps the reed nice and flat. You're going to tighten the ligature onto the mouthpiece so it stays there. And then you're going to hold the neck and twist the mouthpiece off of the neck. Once it's off, you're going to go ahead and place it back in your case. As a reminder, you want to make sure that the case is on a flat surface, such as a table, a chair, or the floor. Once you have the mouthpiece off, you're going to loosen the screw that is holding the neck onto the body. Once you've loosened the screw, you can go ahead and shimmy that right off, and this is ready to go back into the case. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to hold the saxophone by its bell in your right hand, and you're going to take the neck strap off. Now the neck strap is off of the saxophone. You're going to place the body of the saxophone in the case with the keys facing up. You'll then take your reed and your neck strap, put them in the storage part of the case, close the case, latch it, and you're good to go. So at this point, you may be ready to come in and hang out with us in the little theater, but if you're not, that's okay. Go ahead and rewind this and check out some of the things again so you're ready to go. Once you're ready with B, A, and G and assembling the instrument, come on into the little theater and have some fun.